Off.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to do my November TBR. It is almost 11 o'clock at night on Halloween, and I've just gotten it put together. I spent the past few days obsessing over what's going to fit different prompts for readathons, and then a little while ago I was like, okay, why am I taking all the fun out of this? I'm just going to go through my, well, in this case, historical fiction books, or just go through my entire Goodreads and just, read what I want to read, and if it fits, it fits. Especially because there are at least 4 readathons I'm trying to participate in, so the likelihood of reading all the prompts is nil anyway. So we're just gonna do this. So I am going to read one book that's not part of a readathon. It's The Grey Wolf by Louise Penny. It is the newest Armand Gamache book. It just came out. I was trying to finish my spooky reads, and then I'm going to get started on that. But yeah, I think that is the only book that is outside of a readathon, or that I can't make fit into a readathon. But yeah, let's just get started. So the first one is Historithon. This is hosted by Lindsay's Little Library, Gloria Z. Thompson, and Lena's Bookshelf. So like I said in my last video, I did a recommendation video where I kind of gave you books that you could read for Historithon. But as I said in that video, The Briar Club by Kate Quinn is the group read, so I'm going to read that, hopefully. So yeah, now let's get into the books. So the first prompt is historical era exploration, an era of history you're not familiar with. I have a couple for this one. First, I have River Sing Me Home by Eleanor Shearer. I first heard about this one from Krista from Books and Jams, and slowly I've been hearing about it from more people. Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails read it. Can't remember who else, but this one sounds really interesting. And if I don't get to it, I'll read it in Black History Month. Her search began with an ending. The master of the Providence plantation in Barbados gathers the slaves and announces the king has decreed an end to slavery. As of the following day, the Emancipation Act of 1834 will come into effect. The cries of joy fall silent when he announces that they are no longer his slaves. They are now his apprentices. No one can leave. They must work for him for another 6 years. Freedom is just another name for the life they have always lived. So Rachel runs. Away from Providence, she begins a desperate search to find her children, the 5 who survived birth and were sold. Are any of them still alive? Rachel has to know. The grueling, dangerous journey takes her from Barbados, then by river, deep into the forest of British Guiana, and finally across the sea to Trinidad. She is driven on by the certainty that a mother cannot be truly free without knowing what has become of her children, even if the answer is more than she can bear. These are the stories of Mary Grace, Micah, Thomas Augustus, Cherry Jane, and Mercy. But above all, this is the story of Rachel and the extraordinary lengths to which a mother will go to find her children and her freedom. Actually, this one could probably work for a strong sense of place, too. I mean, she's traveling. Yeah, I can make that work for that prompt. But it is also a time I didn't really know much about. At least that part of the world of slavery. Anyway, then I'm going to read By Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult.
Downtown Los Angeles.
That's my Apple TV. By Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult. This one is it's got 2 storylines. Playwright Melina Green has just written a new play inspired by the life of her Elizabethan ancestor Amelia Bassano. But seeing it performed is unlikely in a theater world where the playing field isn't level for women. As Melina wonders if she dares risk failure again, her best friend takes the decision out of her hands and submits the play to a festival under a male pseudonym. And then we get Amelia Bassano's storyline in 1581. She basically is a playwright too, but she's not allowed a voice. And it sounds like she writes Shakespeare's plays, from what I understand. So, yeah, I guess that's what it is. I'm not sure. I didn't quite... Yeah, we'll see. I didn't have anything for famous historical figures. I had something, but the book's so long, and I just was like, I'm never going to read it, so I'm not even going to try. So we're going to go on to historical romance. I have Head in the Clouds by Karen Widmeyer. I heard about this one from Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails. Adelaide Proctor is a young woman with her head in the clouds, longing for... My phone's going to die? No.
Speech on. 20 per low power mode. Face centered. Near right. Speech off.
Adelaide Parker is a young woman with her head in the clouds, longing for a real-life storybook hero to claim as her own. But when a husband hunting debacle leaves her humiliated, she interviews for a governess position on a central Texas sheep ranch and vows to leave her romantic yearnings behind. And she works for Gideon Westcott. He left his position in England to make a name for himself in America's wool industry, and he never expected to become a father overnight. To 5-year-old Isabella, she, I guess, lost her mother, and the mother asked him to take care of her, because it's not his child, it sounds like. So, yeah, sounds good to me. Then we have Across the Ages by Gabrielle Meyer. That's book 4 in that series. I'm not going to talk about it. But they're usually romances, so I'll count it. Then I decided to add at the last minute The Sisters of Seaview by Julie Clausen. You guys know about that one, so I'm not even going to talk about it. But Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails and book lover Amanda. I'm trying to talk really fast because my battery's going to die. And there's a lot of books. But yeah, they've both talked about this series a lot. And I think like the first 3 books, and I haven't read a 1. And I think the next one takes place in winter, so if I get through this first one, I can do the winter one in December. So, yeah. I'm going to read that one. Then we have historical mystery. I have a few for this one, surprisingly. First, I have The Last Midwife by Sandra Dallas. It is 1880, and Gracie Brookins is the only midwife in a small Colorado mining town where she has delivered hundreds, maybe thousands of babies in her lifetime. The women they trust her. But everything changes when a baby is found dead, and the evidence points to Gracie as the murderer. She didn't commit the crime, but clearing her name isn't so easy when her innocence is not quite as simple either. She knows things, and that's dangerous. Invited into her neighbors' homes during their most intimate and vulnerable times, she can't help what she sees and hears. A woman sometimes says things in the birthing bed, when life and death seem suspended within the same moment. Gracie has always tucked those revelations away, even the confessions that have cast shadows on her heart. With her friends taking sides and a trial looming, Gracie must decide whether it's worth risking everything to prove her innocence, and she knows that her years of discretion may simply demand too high a price now, especially since she's been keeping more than a few dark secrets of her own. Then we have The Wings of Poppy Pendleton. I heard about this one from Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction. It's by Melanie Dobson. 1907. On the eve of her 5th birthday, Poppy Pendleton is tucked safely in her bed, listening to her parents entertain New York's gilded society in their Thousand Islands castle. The next morning, she is gone. and her father is found dead in his smoking room. 1992. Though Chloe Verdell lives in the shadows of Poppy's castle, now in ruins, she has little interest in the mystery that still captivates tourists and locals alike. She is focused on preserving the island she inherited from her grandparents and reviving their vintage candy shop. Until the day a girl named Emma shows up on Chloe's doorstep with few possessions save a tattered scrapbook that connects her to the Pendleton family. When a reporter arrives at Chloe's store asking questions about her grandfather, Chloe decides to help him dig into a past she thought best left buried. The haunting truth about Poppy, they soon discover, could save Emma's life. So Chloe and Logan must work to investigate exactly what happened long ago on Coaster Isle. So, yeah. Then we have A Token of Love by Carrie Taransky. Katie just reviewed this one, Paperbacks and Ponytails. In 1885, London, Lillian Fremont embarks on a treacherous journey to reunite with her long-lost niece, who was abandoned at the Foundling Hospital 8 years ago. Fueled by her sister's plea and armed with the gold token that identifies her niece, Lillian teams up with investigative reporter Matthew McGivern to expose the grim reality of the shadowed streets of London. This could be for a social issue, too. As Lillian and Matthew unravel the mystery of Alice's disappearance, their partnership blossoms into one of shared purpose and undeniable attraction. In present-day London, Janelle Spencer finds herself unexpectedly running the Foundling Museum. When filmmaker Jonas Conrad arrives to document the museum's history, their collaboration takes a surprising turn as they uncover articles from the past that shed light on a haunting connection to the present. Sounds fun. Okay, I'm trying to get the screen to move. Social issues, I don't have anything. Oh, I do. Social issue or cultural perspectives. I have Nightbird Calling by Kathy Gulk. When Lillian Swope's beloved mother dies, Lillian gathers her last ounce of courage and flees her abusive husband for the home of her only living relative in the foothills of No Creek, North Carolina. Though Hyacinth Belvedere hasn't seen Lillian since she was 5, she offers her cherished great niece a safe harbor. Their joyful reunion inspires plans to revive Aunt Hyacinth's estate and open a public library where everyone is welcome, no matter the color of their skin. Slowly, Lillian finds revival and friendship in No Creek with precocious 11-year-old Celia Percy, with kind-hearted Reverend Jesse Willard, and with Ruby Lynn Wishin, a young woman whose secrets could destroy both them and the town. When the plans for the library also incite the wrath of the clan, the danger of Lillian's past and present threaten to topple her before she's learned to stand. Wild. Okay, I don't have a historical fiction adaptation. Strong sense of place. Historical nonfiction hybrid. I found this one. This might count. I'm not sure if this would be famous historical figure or hybrid. But we have Miss Morgan's Book Brigade by Janet Skesling Charles. I heard about this one on the Book Bumble podcast. 1918. As the Great War rages, Jesse Carson takes a leave of absence. Jesse Carson is a real person, by the way. Jesse Carson takes a leave of absence from the New York Public Library to work for the American Committee for Devastated France. Founded by millionaire Anne Morgan, this group of international women help rebuild devastated French communities just miles from the front. Upon arrival, Jessie strives to establish something that the French have never seen: children's libraries. She turns ambulances into bookmobiles and trains the first French female librarians. Then she disappears. 1987. When NYPL librarian and aspiring writer Wendy Peterson stumbles across a passing reference to Jessie Carson in the archives. She becomes consumed with learning her fate. In her obsessive research, she discovers that she and the elusive librarian have more in common than their work at New York's famed library. But she has no idea their paths will converge in surprising ways across time. Cool, huh? War and conflict. I have the most for these, just because I'm obsessed with World War II books. So most of these are World War II books. Until We Find Home by Kathy Kulke. Heard about this one from Carmen Janae. This one's about Claire Stewart. She joins the French resistance. But when she finds herself stranded on English shores with 5 French Jewish children, she's smuggled across the channel. She takes them to her estranged aunt, Lady Miranda Langford. She asks her to take them into her estate, and Miranda agrees, but only if Claire will stay to help. Claire doesn't want to. She wants to go back to France and the man she loves, but she doesn't have much choice. And I guess she finds someone else there. David Campbell, sounds like. So yeah, sounds interesting. Then we have the book I'm going to start immediately, The Twins on the Train by Suzanne Goldring. I was waiting for this. Berlin, 1939. This woman, Rosa, she has twins, and I guess she puts them on a train to safety, but they're not supposed to be there. So this other woman basically is trying to hide the twins before they're discovered by the Nazis patrolling. I don't know how she's going to hide 2 babies, newborns, and feed them and all that, but I guess that's the suspense. And the mom of the twins also has a 7-year-old girl that she can't just throw in a basket and put on a train, so it's their story too, so it sounds interesting. Then we have The Book Lover's Library by Madeline Martin. Heard about this one from Krista from Books and Jams. Mother and daughter in wartime England. They get separated, because it's dangerous. And the mother ends up working in a bookshop after her husband dies. And I guess her and Olivia bond through books during their time apart, sounds like. Actually, no, it's Boots Book Lover's Library, so it's a library. Yeah. So, yeah. Books were my thing. Then we have When the World Fell Silent by Donna Jones Alward. I heard about this one from Chloe from Always Booked. This is World War I, I think. A story of loss, hope, and redemption against the most impossible odds. 1917. Halifax, Nova Scotia. Nora Crowell wants more than her sister's life as a wife and mother. As World War I rages across the Atlantic, she becomes a lieutenant in the Canadian Army Nursing Corps. But trouble is looming, and it won't be long before the truth comes to light. Having lost her beloved husband in the trenches and with no one else to turn to, Charlotte Campbell now lives with his haughty relations who treat her like the help. It is baby Eileen, the joy and light of her life, who spurs her to dream of a better life. When tragedy strikes in Halifax Harbor, nothing for these 2 women will ever be the same again. Their paths will cross in the most unexpected ways, both trailing heartbreak and joy in its wake. So yeah, those are all the historithon books I have. Then we have the C.S. Lewis readathon, Anne from In Search of Wonder, Shannon from Old American Spirit, and Morgan's Endless Bookshelf are hosting this one. I don't have a lot for this one, but I do want to try to read something. So we have Narnia, a middle grade or fantasy read. I'm going to read Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I just finished Chamber of Secrets, and I'm going to do my spoilery review on it soon. So that's the next one I'm going to be reading. And we have Mere Christianity, a Christian nonfiction. I don't really read Christian nonfiction, and I probably won't, so anytime soon. Especially not this crowded readathon, or TBR. Space Trilogy, a science fiction. Honestly, I'm going to count across the ages. Time travel is science fiction. Essentially, right? I don't really do science fiction. So we have Faces, a female main character. This is one where I made a book fit because it's a female main character, even though I already have a million books. But I'm doing Libby, Lost and Found by Stephanie Booth. I heard about this one from the Currently Reading podcast. It sounds so good. Okay. I'm trying to... Meet Libby Weems, author of the mega best-selling fantasy series, The Falling Children, written, to me as F.T. Gold Hero to maintain her privacy. When the last manuscript is already months overdue to her publisher, and rabid fans around the world are growing impatient, Libby is diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. Already suffering from crippling anxiety, Libby's symptoms quickly accelerate. After she forgets her dog at the park one day, then almost discloses her identity to the journalist who finds him, Libby has to admit she needs help finishing the last book. Desperate, she turns to 11-year-old superfan Peanut Bixton, who knows the books even better than she does, but harbors her own dark secrets. Tensions mount as Libby's dementia deepens until both Peanut and Libby swirl into an inevitable but bone-shocking conclusion. Wild, huh? Then we have Screwtape Letters, a book about spiritual warfare or epistolary novel. I'm going to try Authentically Izzy by Pepper Basham. I've been hearing about this from everybody and their mother in the Christian fiction community, so yeah, I'm going to do that. And the last prompt I'm going to do is The Great Divorce, a book with stubborn character. I mean, that kind of goes into my next readathon, which is the More Montgomery Challenge. That's the hosts are Lizzie Faye Loves Books, Sonia with an I, and Mitzi Reads and Writes. But yeah, I figure Anne of Green Gables is stubborn. I mean, that girl can hold a grudge about as long as I can. So yeah, that's one of the prompts, and I'm going to read Anne of Green Gables again. Although I'm actually going to listen to, it's like a dramatized version that Audible did. So it's going to be kind of a shorter read. Sandra Oh stars in it. She's Christina Yang in Grey's Anatomy. I don't really like Christina Yang, but I don't know. It's a long book, and it sounds like it's a long play, so I'm going to listen to it that way. We have Kindred Spirits. So yeah, that would be Anne with an E, read an Anne book or Anne related book. I don't know about the puff sleeves. I don't know which book has a dress on the cover, so I'm going to ignore it. Any Cordelia, a book by any other name, any other book that's not Anne related. I don't know if I'll get to another Lucy Maud Montgomery book, but I do have a Montgomery, I do have a Lucy Maud Montgomery sort of biography, for Nonfiction November. It's called After Anne, a novel about Lucy Maud Montgomery's life by Logan Steiner. I heard about this one from Amanda from On the Middle Shelf last year, and I never read it. I meant to read it last year, but I'm going to read that for Nonfiction November. I don't know what prompt that would count for, but yeah. Then we have, I'm on my last books. They're the Nonfiction Novembers. Then we have The Daughter of Auschwitz by Tova Friedman. I guess it's a biography of one of the youngest Auschwitz survivors. Then we have Dolls of Our Lives, Why We Can't Quit American Girl. This one is written by the Dolls of Our Lives podcast, the 2 hosts of that podcast. I meant to read their book. I haven't, so I'm going to try to this month. And the last one is The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. It's Kelly Bishop's memoir. Came out in September. I was saving it for nonfiction November. And that is everything that I hope to read in November. It might change depending on my mood and depending on what else other people are reading, because sometimes things change. So yeah, that is everything that I plan to read in November, hopefully. Hopefully I gave you some ideas. Also, I'm hoping you guys will go to my Q&A announcement video. I'm going to link it down below and add some questions for my blindness Q&A. I was hoping to have it done by tomorrow, but I didn't get as many questions as I would like, so I might wait another week. So, if you guys could post your blindness related questions for that video, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, other than that, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!
Speech. Stop recording.